So what happens when a high school senior graduates? What is next for them in ministry? Well, welcome back to another episode of Youth Ministry Insights. As always, I am happy to be here with you today. And today's an exciting episode because it's the first time that I'm going to have two guests on. And we're going to do this a little differently with a series of questions and answers from two youth ministry graduates who are now young adults and active in our young adult ministry that I run. So I hope that you enjoyed this little interview series with Kat and Ryan. So Kat and Ryan, tell us a little bit about your youth ministry experience and how you transitioned into the young adult ministry.
Hi, I'm Ryan Petrie. I'm a sophomore in college. I've been a part of the youth group ever since the junior youth group in 6th grade. And through that, I just kind of worked my way up to get to the high school youth group. And really, I would say the retreats were a big part of helping me stay into it because it was such a blessed time, but also all the little fun meetings in between and then getting to know about your faith also in between. And then with the adult youth ministry group, I had some friends who were already in it, had a lot of positive things to say. And pretty much that helped encourage me to go, but also hearing that they continue to do retreats with the young adult ministry group was a big part of it. And of course, Father Maz saying plenty of good things in Kari as well, because at a time they were a part of a youth adult ministry group. And that was definitely a big part helping me transition into it, hearing all the positive and good things about it from people I trusted.
I'm Kat and I'm 23 years old. I started going to youth group when I was in 6th grade, but I really didn't start coming continuously and staying until I was in high school. And I was nervous to transition into the young adult group, but I heard a lot of great things, as Ryan said, and just seeing that going into college, it helps you with the transition of going into college and facing all of these different things. The young adult group really helped me go through all of that and learning new prayers and things that we didn't get in the high school youth group. So I really enjoyed staying in it.
What was the hardest transition for you going from youth ministry to young adult ministry?
For me, I would have to say the hardest transition or part was definitely seeing, kids you grew up with in the younger ministry groups, like for me, the high school group, go their separate ways, go to different schools, and then it gets kind of hard. You really ask yourself, like, since they're going their separate ways, should I go my separate ways and do my own thing? And for me, I definitely still wanted to be a part of it, but at times, just school and just, I guess, the adult world gets hard, working a job and just making excuses of saying why you can't go. And just, I guess, really the fact of growing up and facing adulthood is one of those things that gets in the way of coming to youth adult or young adult ministry. So for me, it's definitely seeing friends go their separate ways and questioning myself, am I not doing my own thing or not becoming an adult for me?
For me, it was definitely having the high school group. It would always be learning about faith, but also doing so many fun activities, keeping the high schoolers engaged and wanting to come back. And from going from that to the adult group, which is more so learning different things about people's faith, hearing from other speakers, was definitely a more mature level to it. So that was probably a hard transition for me, being more serious about faith and not just hearing a talk and then playing dodgeball or something. It was actually listening to that talk, getting something out of it, discussing it. That was probably the hardest thing for me, but that goes with, like I said before, the retreat, having that mature now faith, like you're an adult now, this faith is up to you to take it with you as you grow older.
Okay, Kat and Ryan, what is your favorite part of young adult ministry?
My favorite part of the young adult ministry is definitely the retreats. We had retreats throughout the high school, but this was a lot more different, whereas the high school retreat kind of had everything already set up for you, but the young adult retreat, like being a young adult, you have to carry out your faith on your own and be disciplined in prayer and doing those things that no one's going to help you do them. So being in the young adult retreat, having a lot of that free time and being able to go to the chapel whenever you want, that transition was something that I really needed, especially going into college. So that's my favorite part. And we have it twice a year instead of the high school having it once a year.
For me, my favorite part about the young adult ministry is definitely I love the retreats like Kat, but also just meeting other young adults who have questions about their faith or in their separate journey of their faith, and getting to learn from them some things that they're going through, and maybe you're going through the same thing, and just seeing how all these other young adults are on the same journey as you, and really how you can help each other, but also create friends, because as you get older, you're going to have a lot of different influences and temptations in your life. So it's good to have positive people that can be friends for yours, and also just having more opportunities for service and volunteering, especially with the young adult ministry for the younger ministries. That is definitely one of my favorite things about it.
So Kat and Ryan, what is one piece of advice you can give to youth ministers on the importance of having a young adult ministry at their parish?
My biggest piece of advice would be to listen to what the young people have to say, especially because that transition is so hard from high school to young adults. I know when I first transitioned over, it was so different, a different atmosphere, different things, that I felt like, oh, I can't come anymore because this is not what I'm used to or whatever. So still having that young adults and having people come makes that transition a lot easier, and being open to suggestions and things like that, because so many people, especially in college, they lose their way, and it's important to have that constant, like those meetings that you can always show up to. You can always learn more about your faith instead of just being, okay, you graduated, good luck out in the world. So definitely having the young adult ministry and getting that constant learning and that constant faith and fellowship is really important.
I would say for me, just any piece of advice, some of these schools really don't have as strong as a campus ministry as some other schools. So it's very hit or miss at some of these schools. And to have a young adult ministry that can supply the wisdom, just so many resources to these young adults is key, because a lot of young adults are still finding their footing in this world, and it's just a lot to deal with going from high school really into the real world and trying to figure out what you're going to do with your life, what you're going to be working as, and just a lot of things you got to figure out. So having people that go through the same and that can help guide them, and youth ministers that can help out with a lot is so key for that. And just, as Kat said, really just listening to everyone and how they're feeling, and just having like a support group, really, because that's what the ministry is. It's a support group to help out and to help everyone in their journey to God and finding their footing.